You're watching BCTV. We're all about Brantford. You're watching BCTV, Brantford Government Television, a service of Brantford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Brantford.
I'd like to call the Police Commissioners meeting to order, July 8th at 5:30, Monday. And first on our agenda is the approval of minutes. We have two different minutes to approve.
I'd like to move the approval of special meeting of Monday, June 17, 2019, and a special meeting of Tuesday, June 23rd, 2019.
You might want to take it separate because I have to abstain on the 17th. I was absent.
Oh, okay. So let's just do the 17th, the first one.
I second that.
Aye. All in favor? Yeah.
Abstain.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve the special meeting of Tuesday, June 25th, 2019.
All in favor?
Right. No, first one.
Oh, no, I'm looking at May. You're way there.
I was in there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just said that, yeah.
Sorry, John.
Okay, report of the chief.
Mr. May.
Okay, so since we last met, we've had a pretty busy month. You don't have a specific CompStat report due to we didn't have CompStat with vacations and vacancies, but I'll highlight a few things that have happened. More also as a PSA, you may have saw on our social media posts, North Main and Cedar is one of the highest locations of accidents, and 64% of all the accidents there are rear-end accidents. So we put out an announcement on social media. Most of those are inattentive drivers, not putting the phones down, being preoccupied. Those are the causations of a lot of rear-end accidents. So when we look at our accident rates in town and where they are, North Main and Cedar is very high, and 64% of all those accidents are rear-end accidents. So please be attentive. And it is a very heavily traveled, it's very congested, and I'm sure that contributes, but that is a byproduct of the cell phones. Also, we partnered with Ring. They make the cameras that are installed on the houses for your doorbells and or other, and it is a neighborhood program and a partnership with law enforcement that allows all users to share their video to law enforcement, and there's a portal and a way to do that. But more importantly, they also allow non-Ring users to upload and be part of their community that we have access for. So any Brantford residents that are interested, all they need to do is text Brantford CT, it's all one word, Brantford CT to 555-888, 555-888, Brantford CT, and they will send you the information to become part of that online community. The results and what we're seeing across the country with this partnership, it allows us to get video. You allow it, they correspond with you via email. Would you allow law enforcement to view your video? Very, very important investigative tool.
Excuse me, Chief, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Sure.
there's a telemarketing jingle that everyone's been affected by. It says Brantford CT, Norwalk CT, you know, where it is just a ruse. They're trying to get you on something else. But this is not the same
No.
Brantford CT then. We block those calls.
That may be
Personally.
the caller ID that's coming up on your phone. They're spoofing numbers. No, this is a legitimate partnership between law enforcement and Ring. It's a tremendous investigative tool for us, so they won't be calling. It's all done.
Oh, they won't be calling?
No, it's
Okay,
all
so
done
if we
via
see-
text.
We see Brantford CT because that comes up a lot.
That's just the designation of whatever they spoofed on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So just disregard those. But this is a legitimate
All right.
program. Tremendous segue into the next highlight. For those of you who saw it in the media, we had a 16-year-old Brantford resident that attacked a jogger on Mill Creek. The detectives and the patrol officers conducted a very extensive neighborhood canvass, speaking with the people in the area. With their efforts and the cooperation of the community, we were able to obtain a search warrant for a Brantford residence, and we were able to gain some evidence from that execution. We did develop a suspect. We were able to get an arrest warrant for that 16-year-old. In Connecticut, the 16-year-old's a juvenile, went to juvenile court. My last understanding is that juvenile is incarcerated still. But I highlight this case not only as a really good police work, it was good engagement with the community, and video did play a big part. Video did provide us with some stepping stones to get to a conclusion. So, there is value in us working together, and specifically, the combination of technology and old school police work really paid off with this. They were in the neighborhoods quite frequently. There was some things, actions we took that were, we had some undercover people out there, so it worked out well. The second one I'd like to highlight, again, that made a lot of the media coverage, was the arrest of Gurpreet Singh. He was a quadruple murder suspect out of Ohio.
Right.
Ohio detectives had developed some information. He was staying here in Brantford. We were able to verify that information. We were able to locate him and get eyes on him, for lack of a better word. Working in conjunction with them, we were able to take him to custody. Now, everyone could understand taking a person into custody that's wanted for quadruple homicide. There's a high level of danger there. There's a lot of
What have they got to lose?
Yeah, Walmart was where the takedown occurred. Everything went without incident, and again, great work by the officers of this department. Very, very tough 2 hours, but came to a good conclusion.
Quite a feather in our cap, huh?
Yes, so they've been very busy. Very proud of the work that we've accomplished this past month. A lot of good police work. On to the forfeiture report. I have 2 expenditure requests in your packets. You will see that we did receive a deposit recently of, I believe it was $87,000. So
8,700.
as that came in, I have had some discussions. We did receive our fitness equipment was outdated. It's not up to standards, and I did have a request from the rank and file here to look at purchasing fitness equipment. This is cardiovascular equipment, treadmill, a bike, and a rowing machine. It is allowable under equitable sharing, fits the parameters of the asset forfeiture. I think it's good for the health of the department. I think it's a good way to get more people in the gym. So I'm requesting to cover the expense of $7,444 to cover that for the gym. Along those lines, and looking at some of our training needs and where we would like to move with some of our in-house training and CompStat meetings, and quite frankly, the use for the community. The community room, the TV, in certain parts where you sit, you can't see it. You do a PowerPoint presentation, it's very hard for those in the back row to see, and setting up the arrangement of the room. I've had a prior experience, and what we ended up doing was what was called a media wall. It's a fancy name for essentially 4 TVs that go through a router or a interface of a computer that puts the display up there. It will enhance our ability to conduct training and show videos and, quite frankly, pictures. So that's going to have a price tag of roughly $12,000. That's all the computer equipment, all the TVs and installation. And again, that's a training component, which is allowable under equitable sharing. So I request that we have an expenditure for that also.
I'd like to make a motion.
You recommend that, right?
Yes, I think, we're going to be looking at some increased training, and I think this is a way. And also, people do use the room, and this would be something that, can be utilized.
I'd like to make a motion that we expend approximately $20,000 from the forfeiture fund for the purchase of cardio training machine and computer equipment as specified by the chief.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Question, Chief. A number of months ago, when you were deputy, you had us go down to Milford to see their facility. Are we beginning to use that now?
Yeah, so their training officer just retired.
Okay.
We've signed the illegal agreement. We're all set with that. We've actually had 2 of our officers go down there for training, training on the computer,
Right.
training on the scenarios. And if you remember, the scenarios are, they get their heart rate, but it's the after action of the talking of the instructor.
Right.
So we did expose our instructors, 2 very good instructors. They went down. We are in the process of getting dates to bring some of our officers through it. And there is some downtime as they cycle in and out.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to piggyback and do our mandatory taser training at the same time. So they'll get
There?
Yes, so they'll come in, they'll get the taser training, they'll go into the simulator, they'll get the tactical training, then they'll come out and they'll rotate. We have that in process. We're hoping to get in there hopefully soon, and I would like to get some of our newer officers in there sooner or later.
So does each officer get training on all the scenarios, or did it just?
Well, there's several hundred. They wouldn't get it on all.
Yeah, so
Oh,
the
no.
instructors will pick the scenarios, and then the officers will get exposure, and once they see it, the next round we change them up.
Right.
So it's never the same.
I'll tell you what to do.
But I can report back, and also, we could also do another field trip.
Yeah, I'd like
When
that.
we schedule the days, I think it's worth a while to go down there.
Mhm.
It's a great, piece.
Well, that's ancillary to the motion that's already been passed, right?
Yeah, no, it was as a result of a question, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Has anyone ever had a taser hit before? Well, I have.
Have you?
Yeah,
No.
I mean, it was.
I'm not going to ask why, but
No, I was sitting next to, what's his name now, the guy that's retired, and we were sitting in a meeting and he had a taser. They have the tasers and the belt, and I said, "What does that feel like?" And he said, "You want to see?" And I said, "Yeah." He didn't do anything on my heart or anything. He just hit me in the leg like that. It was like somebody punching it. I mean,
That's what it's supposed to do.
yeah.
Well, I hope it's not any of our current officers. 'Cause that's
Yes,
not-
I don't think we
That is not an
that's not a good
authorized
use.
use.
Yes.
But I can say from experience, I took a full prong hit with a taser, and it's
Did put you
It's
down.
special.
Electrifying.
a very interesting experience.
Yes.
But on a serious note, taser usage is way down.
Yeah,
Um,
that's okay.
you know.
Well, it should, yeah.
Crime's
But it
down.
is a very valuable, less lethal option for the officers.
Yes.
The injury report, Officer O'Connor, he was in a DUI-related motor vehicle accident. A drunk driver hit his car, and he is back to work, thankfully.
What's his first name?
Michael.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the car's not back to work. We're still working on that, but yeah, he had minor injuries. We went and saw him that night in the hospital. He was doing very well, but
When did that happen?
that was the night of the Bruins loss. Because the fellow who overindulged himself was a Bruins fan,
Oh,
so he did not.
He wasn't happy.
He
So,
would have done the same thing if they won, too.
Probably.
well, please don't drink and drive. Not only do you endanger the lives of others, but obviously police officers. Brenda Vera and Kenneth Irdos are progressing very well on field training. They've been out there. They're doing very well. They're hopefully will be out on the streets solo fairly soon, but doing very well. I'm getting good feedback about them. So.
They're, what, 60 days into this now?
Vera was earlier than Kenneth. I don't have the exact dates, but they're through. And with the certifieds, we don't necessarily have to do 10 weeks or 12 weeks, but it's what we're comfortable with. In Brantford, getting around and learning the streets and learning the nuances of the different neighborhoods, we may hold a little bit longer. But
What about stuff like, you have somebody who was obviously corrections, right? So, right, it's very different. I presume that's a lot more training, I presume, than
Yes.
somebody who's a lateral.
yeah, and depending on how many years they served as certified officers will dictate, but what you find is the radio codes, the processing, how we process prisoners, our computer systems, the community layout of the streets, and one thing a police officer has to be able to do is get to certain locations within,
Fast.
so we want to make sure they have the lay of the land per se, but they're doing very well.
Great.
Don't anticipate any problems with them. And lastly is, we did the promotions back on June 25th. We put that out. Captain Alves is now the deputy. John Finkel was promoted to the rank of captain. Philip Ramey was promoted to lieutenant. And Officer Clerkin was promoted to sergeant. All of them will be getting new assignments, whether it's shift assignments or administrative assignments, but they're doing very well. And as you know, we have more change coming.
All right, that's Section E, correct? And that's a matter of record. Captain Alves is Deputy Chief, Lieutenant Finkel to Captain.
Yeah, this is just an overview of a highlight of last
All right,
month.
no action is required.
No, and I think that for the TV audience, that these were all the folks that were the top qualified
Yes.
Yes.
for
those positions, so we followed along with that.
And even in the short period of time of assuming their new responsibilities, very impressed with what I'm seeing, and a lot of good new ideas. There'll be a learning curve, but we're going to be an agency that's going through some change, but it's going to be good change, and we'll make it out at the end very well.
You're absolutely correct. As a matter of record, then, should you recite those names again for the benefit of viewers?
Sure. Yeah, we had posted it on Facebook, but the new deputy chief is John Alves. Lieutenant Finkel was promoted to the position of captain. Sergeant Ramey is assumed as a patrol lieutenant, and Officer Clerkin is now a sergeant.
Very good.
And that's all I have.
Do I have a motion to approve the chief's
Oh,
report?
yeah, sure.
Second.
Second?
All in
All in
favor?
favor?
Aye.
Rick, were you going to say something?
No, we're good.
Traffic?
Okay, two items. First one is for traffic calming in the vicinity of Ecology Park, off of Tabor Drive where Marshall comes together, with now Deputy Chief Alves, Commissioner Tony LaSalle and myself went out and took a look at it. And the stop sign coming out of Ecology Park is about 30 feet back from a sight line that allows you to see anything to the right down Tabor. So we're going to request, or the recommendation of the committee is we move that forward and also paint a stop bar. There was some discussion about making Marshall, which is the street right across from the exit of Ecology Park, making that one way so that you had to take a hard right. That would certainly calm traffic. They wouldn't go forward. But we're going to try a little walk before we run kind of thing, so we see how this works. So that's the recommendation of the committee. Is there a motion?
Motion to recommend to approve?
Motion to approve the
Second?
request for traffic.
Second.
calming.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's,
And the second request is for a stop sign on Alps Road in both directions where Bourbon comes in. Comes in at a corner, the sight lines down and up Alps are not that good. My feeling is that we should do a traffic count study, because we've done it where we've had other stop sign requests, and quite frankly, we've denied most of them based on volume, and I like consistency in handling this type of request. So that's something we can just do.
We could just do.
Yeah, there's no action needed for that. So
Okay.
that's my report.
okay. Report of the chair. Well, you want to approve your report?
Yes, that would be
Okay,
nice.
second. Report of the chair. Pardon?
All in favor?
Yep, all in favor.
Okay, the report of the chair, there isn't one. And it looks like we are going to set a record here,
Well, we have to go into executive
Executive,
session here.
right?
We
But
need,
the regular meeting is adjourned, then we reopen, right?
Then we reopen.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna go into executive
No,
session.
we adjourn the
We need
meeting
a
or no?
motion,
No, you
motion
don't-
to
you
go
don't-
into executive session.
Right.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive second.
second it.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
But I think we have.
I gotta get the test score back.
So call it back into
Got the packet.
regular
Just
session.
No, no, I
Just
returned it
returned it.
last week. I gave it
No,
to
no, the one I just gave tonight.
Go back
I never
into
got one.
regular session.
Okay, don't worry about it.
No.
Do I have a motion?
All right, I'm gonna make three separate motions here.
Okay.
We have to come
Wait,
out
wait,
of.
you have-
Yeah, we just did that, all right? Came out of executive session, we're now in regular session. I'm gonna make three separate individual motions. The first one is I'd like to make a motion to promote David Galdenzi to captain as of July 20th. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in
Jill?
favor?
Aye.
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 The second motion is to promote Greg Watrous to lieutenant as of July 20th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And the third motion is to promote Melissa Carney to the position of sergeant as of July 20th.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, so at this point,
We go back.
anybody else have anything else we gotta? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Here you go, sir.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Brantford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BrantfordTV.org.